Welcome everybody to a look at another new Radiance Films release, and it is 1970s The Landlord. So this is directed by Hal Ashby, who also did the really rather fantastic Harold and Maude and the equally fantastic Being There, both of those also from the 1970s. This is a comedy drama clocking in at 113 minutes long, stars Beau Bridges, who was in the likes of 2 Minute Warning and The Incident. It also stars Lee Grant, who was in the likes of In the Heat of the Night, Detective Story, Airport 77, Storm Fear, and There Was a Crooked Man. And finally, the late, great Louis Gossett Jr., who unfortunately died earlier this year. He was also in If, his final film role, Enemy Mine even, Toy Soldiers, The Deep, and The Laughing Policeman. So at the age of 29, Elga Enders runs away from home. This running away consists of buying a building in a black ghetto in the Park Slope section of Brooklyn. Initially, his intention is to evict the black tenants and convert the building into a posh flat, but Elga is not one to be bound by yesterday's urges, and soon he has other thoughts on his mind. So even though I don't think this gets its racial politics on point all of the time, I guess it's kind of hard to expect that from a 50-plus-year-old film. This is nonetheless far ahead of other films when it comes to other having such themes about race and inequality. The producer of this film is well known for doing that. He also directed In the Heat of the Night, which is probably why Lee Grant got the role in this film. And yeah, that was also a film that really dealt with inequality and racism, and that was probably a little bit better in terms of this on in terms of dealing with that, but this also, like I said, deals with other themes as well really rather nicely. The cast is also great. It is funny throughout, especially when mocking the idiocy of racist. So you get certain scenes where um, Elgar's mother hears something that he's doing. For instance, he starts a relationship with a black lady, and she has a flash forward where she's suddenly seeing that she's taking care of loads of black children and stuff like that, and it's just, and then she reacts horrifyingly and runs out the door, and that's just really rather hilarious because it's obviously an overreaction to your prejudices and your feeling of those prejudices coming, you know, wildly untrue in some regards. So yeah, it's really rather funny in that regard. In other areas as well, the pacing is also on point. The editing, especially, is well done. It cuts quickly in between certain scenes, and in the final act or so, it comes across like a horror film in some regard because you get some really rather, you know, ambient noises that are used really rather effectively that just makes it sound like a horror film, and the way it's edited on top of that, it just kind of reminded me of something that you don't might see in The Exorcist 3 from 20 years later. And in that regard, the cinematography is also on point, the plot is predominantly engrossing, and the score soundtrack is really good. So yeah, overall a surprise really. I wasn't expecting much from this because even though I have enjoyed a couple of films from the director before, I really enjoyed those films, so I was, a little bit skeptical that his first film would be able to match up to those films. And even though it doesn't quite do that, it's not a million miles off. So, yeah, there we go. There we've got the disc again, and then we've got some provocative artwork for the original poster. Mhm. There we go. And then we've also got the booklet, which is a nice thick one on this one. And inside, you've got your cast and your crew. Then we've got Breaking Out of the Cutting Room from 1970 by Hal Ashby. Then My Horoscope Said Evil Was Coming, the casually sinister intrusion of whiteness in The Landlord from 2024 by Jourdain Searles. And then Transfer Notes and Credits. So, yeah, we get a bunch of shots from the film inside of here as well, which is always nice to see. I always am a big fan of that when that happens. And then in terms of transfer notes, well, we got the landlord was restored in 2K by Kino Lorber and delivered to Radiance as a high definition digital file by Park Circus. The film is presented in its original 185 to 1 aspect ratio with the original mono audio mix. So, yeah, obviously, if you're in America, you've probably already seen the Kino Lorber release this already, but this has never had a release over here in the UK. And before Kino Lorber get a release, I think it was very rarely seen at all. So, yeah, it's always a good thing to have such a film finally be given the Blu-ray treatment after been in obscurity for such a long time. And then in terms of the stuff on the disc, well, we've got uncompressed mono PCM audio, new interview with Hal Ashby, biographer Nick Dawson from 2024, clocking in at 22 minutes long. And then we've got an interview with broadcaster and author Ellen E. Jones from 2024, clocking in at 18 minutes long. Then The Racial Gap, an interview with star Beau Bridges from 2019, clocking in at 25 minutes long. Him and Lee Grant, by the way, are still alive, but obviously they probably couldn't get a brand new interview with either. Then we've got Reflections, an interview with star Lee Grant from 2019. That's 26 minutes long. I imagine these are probably extras that are on the Kino Lorber release, so that's probably why they're a fair few years old. Style and Substance, an interview with producer Norman Jewison from 2019, clocking at 29 minutes long. Trailer and optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. And we've got new commissioned cover artwork by Vincent Wild. So yeah, overall a really rather good film. Not my favourite film from Hal Ashby, like I said. Harold and Maude and Being There are definitely two better films from him from the 70s, but still, as a debut, it's pretty damn great. And yeah, like I said, far ahead of other films that might well have tried to deal with these kind of themes as well. So yeah, but nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.